Play some hockey. Tonight. Energetic, passionate, and savvy. Gouche Live. Brought to you by the good people at the Hockey News and Sports Illustrated. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Gouche.
Hey, it's the Gouche at his home studio in downtown Toronto. Not really, Richmond Hill, because if it was downtown Toronto, you know what happened? I wouldn't be on. Sorry, I'm really busy. Vikings cousins to miss preseason game after testing positive. There go my Vikings. That's it. Season's over. Hey, thank you for joining another episode of Gouche Live. I have got a special guest, two special guests. But before I do that, I want to tell you, Hockey News has been tremendous in supporting us, as is the bottom line. And because we're talking Team Canada, I just want to brag a little bit. That's my Team Canada. I played for Team Canada 5 times, all in one tournament. Over the years, it was the Christmas Cup of the president of the Belarusian, Lukashenko. Shouldn't say that too loud because I'll probably be on a wanted poster now. And I got a chance to win a bronze medal. It wasn't Team Canada officially for the juniors or for the seniors. It was just a Team Canada representing. And it was the first time Canada ever won a bronze. And I can tell you, that was like my Stanley Cup. So I couldn't even imagine these kids playing for the country in Edmonton. And we're going to get a little taste of it from not only one of our guests, Don Dupeau, arguably one of the best coaches I've had through my years. And of course, we've got Steven Ellis from the Hockey News. But before we do any of that, let's get him on. The guy that makes this show click or tick. It's my buddy Jordan LaRoche.
Hey, Gooch.
I don't know why I'm tongue-tied today for some reason.
Yeah, no, all good. But I actually do have my own Team Canada experience too.
Hey, hang on. There's my little picture behind you. Okay, go.
It's probably about 2016, just a few exhibition games in Italy, Austria, and Germany. It wasn't Hockey Canada or anything, but again, representing Canada is always a pretty cool experience.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. I know,
Yeah.
and just like we're in one town in I think it was Germany. I can't remember what town specifically, but it was a sold out crowd, and then people were asking us for photos and stuff after the game, even though we were just a bunch of AAA, Junior B, Junior C players.
That was probably a city that I played over there and, tore it up with a bunch of goals. And maybe my jersey was hanging in it. Hey, listen, showcasing super elite shot, Bedard continues to amaze early in the World Junior Championships in Edmonton. I'm really excited about our guest. I know he's gotten out of his busy schedule. He read the manual how to come on our show with StreamYard. What are your thoughts of Bedard right now before we bring him up? Because I'm going to ask him that question.
I mean, it's an absolute stud. I mean, I think it was Jesse Pollock put up on Twitter today. There might be 3 or 4 better NHL players who have a better release than Bedard. And for a 17-year-old, that's some pretty high praise, but high expectations too. And with those expectations, he's been able to live up to them in the World Juniors. He made a couple of plays last night on one of his goals with that give and go play. He's a sense for the game. It's so rare to see in players at that age.
Well, you said quick releases. Let's think about this for a second. There's Matthews, arguably right now, probably one of the best. Stamkos, Ovechkin, but this one's really cool. Lehner. Did you see his hair today? He doesn't have any.
It's a new look. I like it. It used to have that really ugly lettucey flow that came out of the back. It was almost noodly.
Like Trump. He looked like Trump a little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't a good look.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, talking about good looks. Well, let's bring him up. Donnie Dupeau, all the way from Edmonton, Alberta. Here he is.
Hey, Gooch. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I see you're at the Studio 9.
Yep. We're at the studio, Department 9, and we're working on some projects here. And actually, Jordan, nice to see you as well.
Hey, Don, how are you?
Good, thank you.
I don't really know what
might
Carrie's doing, but
What do you got going there, Gooch?
Doesn't it say 29 Goulet?
Of course, yeah. So there. See, actually,
Okay,
it's
well,
actually
you've got number
29. My shoulder's just in the way of the 2. That's all.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Hey, Donnie, thanks for coming on. We had a great opportunity to talk to Steven Ellis yesterday, just about the overall atmosphere. And I know that he's in the media. So from a fan's perspective, you being there on the Team Canada games, we won't talk about the other ones because I don't think they're. Man, you could get a beer, and certainly you could get really quickly a popcorn because there was nobody there. But for Team Canada, what's the atmosphere like?
Well, the atmosphere, the fans that are there, of course, they're very, they're very supportive. I mean, even though it was like I think it was 8-1 yesterday, and people are getting the "Let's Go Canada" chant going. So people that are there are very supportive. But again, it's love to see more people. I mean, part of it, maybe it's in the summer, and B, it's a 4:00 start. So I'm not sure why they did the 4:00. Maybe TSN wanted to do it for the Eastern market. I don't know.
Right.
But I think if they had say a 6 or 7, 8 o'clock, then people would, after work, they say, hey, let's go to the game, get a bite to eat, go to the game. I think they get more people. Anyways, I don't know. I think the 4:00 start has something to do with it, and the fact it's not held in its usual time. But anytime Team Canada is playing, man, I mean, you got to be there, especially when you have the opportunity to do so.
All right. I know Jordan's going to have a couple of questions after this next one, and I'll leave my question, the big question, for last. But how good is Mason Mctavish? I know he scored 4 goals. I've been watching him. I didn't know much about him until I started watching the Hamilton Bulldogs with Jay McKee. Jay McKee was actually with us when we won this jersey. What a heck of a defenseman. He was unbelievable. So I want to ask you, Mason Mctavish, is he all what they're saying he is?
Absolutely. I mean, this kid, I am so glad that he's on the team because, certainly I think all of us are disappointed that, you had the other people who opted out. But I mean, I understand it's, it's training camp for most everybody, but I'm sure glad. So I'd rather concentrate on, focus on the kids that made the commitment and who are there rather than who aren't there. Yeah, so having said that, fantastic player. I mean, he's a big kid. He's super good hands in tight. And there's a buddy of mine, and you know him too, Coach Bjorn Kinding. He was at the game yesterday with me, and we were talking about the players. And I said, watch this kid. He's got so good, really good hands, especially in tight. He can make those moves. So I love him. He's he's a player.
You coached them.
The Gouche.
I don't know if you know it, Jordan. Don was my coach.
Yeah,
and, a tremendous coach. Yeah.
Gouche had soft hands too.
Well, yeah, because they were.
I've seen them. They're okay.
They were in Palmolive.
Yeah, we're talking about after the game.
Yeah. But no, Donnie knew me when I was good, buddy. I needed a wheelchair to score those 3 goals on you. No, just joking around, Donnie. I can't thank you enough for being around me and doing all the great things and helping us through this, time of with the pandemic and me being able to talk to you about some of the things. Thank you for that. And also, you also helped me with my coaching career. Sorry, Jordan. I know your question is next. Don actually helped me, Jordan, through my coaching career, and he actually put together, because it was the first time, remember, Donnie, I was going through some mental health issues. I got this binder of yours. It was like this thick, and I was doing every practice was that. Okay, we're going to do the X and O's, and without you, I probably would have just lasted a month in Germany and been sent home. So thank you for that.
My pleasure, Coach. I mean, it was all you, but happy to help.
Oh, yeah. Jordan.
No, so I want to talk a little bit about another Canadian forward on the roster right now. That's Brennan Othman. He kind of had a shaky start to the tournament, took the penalty in a warm-up game, and then was scratched for game 1. That's 3 points last night. How noticeable was he out there for you?
Yeah, he was noticeable because he really, the team just in general. I mean, I know we didn't play the first game, but I mean, Canada as a whole played a much better game the second game, and so watching him, and he's probably a big part of it. They were attacking on the rush, so he attacks the net hard. He goes hard, so it's at high pace, and also his forechecking. He's relentless, so it's he was noticeable to me for sure.
Yeah, he has a good shot to make the Rangers lineup this year, so this is the perfect time for him to have a big game.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he had a good one.
And then I want to move over to the goaltenders actually, with Sebastian Costa and Dylan Garand they'll probably be splitting time for I would assume the rest of the round robin at least.
Yeah.
But do you think one guy can really control this net? And if so, who?
Well, they're both great goalies. They both played really well. They had roughly the same shots against. Yeah. Arguably, though, in the first game, I think it was like 18-2 in shots for Canada after the first, and it was like 1-1. Just one of those games. Whereas the second game last night, even though the shots against ended up roughly the same, they were really close for a while. Like it was 15-12 or something. So both of them made some really good saves. In fact, I think Kosa, I would say if there was a highlight save, it'd be the one in the first game where one of the Latvian players had a breakaway, and he came out. He was like at the top of the circle and poke checked him. And I'm going, holy crap, are you coming that far out? Normally, a guy like Gouche, you go, okay, how do you do? And, he goes to one side, he's got the open net. But there's a defenseman that was chasing him. So when I first saw it, I thought, okay, did Kosa, push him to outside just enough for the defenseman to catch him? And then on the replay, no, he did it himself, and it was he just knocked the puck right off. So I'm sure for that player thinking, okay, come on out, great, get to a spot, and he's going to go. But Kosa is 6'6", 6'7", plus then he's got his wingspan, plus then he's got his goal stick. I mean, he's got about a kilometer worth of influence there. So he picked that off, and I think it was really surprising, and because he was so far out.
Yeah, it's always a little scary, I guess, for coaches whenever a goalie leaves the net. Probably even more so when he's skating out to the top of the circle.
Oh yeah, he made his decision. He was going, and sorry, go ahead, Gouche.
No, go.
I was just going to say, both of them for the most part, I really liked how their rebound control. When they got it, they were really, really trying to, there weren't a lot of second shots, and actually any second shots they got, I think Czechia's power or their goal last night, I think, was on a rebound. So there wasn't too many rebounds out there.
Yeah, I've noticed that through the first few games. I mean, Canada's goaltending has always kind of been that way. But you want to go ahead, Gouche?
Yeah, I wanted to say I can't. I'm watching so much.
Actually, one thing, we're forgetting a little celebration today, I believe.
Oh yeah, because I won a bronze medal. I was a captain.
Yeah.
What's up, that Gouche?
That? Oh God, Donnie, you don't know it. It's my 5th year anniversary.
Ah, nice.
Getting married in front of the Stanley Cup. I was actually right in front of the Stanley Cup. My wife only knew it was thank God for Facebook. Seriously. Yeah. It helped me this morning because at 6:30, my bell rung and it was somebody in Germany saying happy anniversary because they were at the wedding. Happy anniversary. So I was already ahead of the game. I didn't even have to worry about getting a gift. You know what I mean? Like it was already pre-planned. Hey,
wow.
Thanks for the notice. Hey, listen, Matthew Meisner, all the way from, how do we say it? Ushuaia, Argentina. He comes and loves it. Always love hockey talk with Gouche and friends. And we are talking with one of our better friends, Donnie in Edmonton. Donnie, before we get to my question, I want to ask you about goaltending. I don't know if you guys watched the USA game afterwards. I don't know if I was sleeping or I saw 2 or 3 4-on-0s. The United States it was ridiculous. The poor goaltender. I wanted to ask you, Jordan, the goalie sees 4 guys coming at him. Is he nervous?
I mean, I don't think it's not so much a nervous thing. It's like oh crap, like what do I do here? But sometimes you just got to follow the puck, and hopefully that they don't make that last second pass. I mean, you just got to kind of stay in front of it as best you can. Not much you can really do in that situation.
Hey, Don, you as a high-level coach, do you practice? Does anybody practice a 4-on-0, like a 4-on-1 because there's a goalie?
Sure, we do. We practice the 4-on-0 right after we do our 5-on-3s. We do that like all the time, and then especially the 4-on-0s. We do that as well. No, you know what? In Canada game too, right? There's the 4-on-0.
Yep.
So it's
just unbelievable.
It's nuts. Yeah, we looked at that and went, okay, I don't think I've ever seen a 4-on-0.
One of the things I noticed, guys, with the Hlinka Gretzky tournament to this tournament, and then watching the pros play, I honestly never, I know it sounds crazy at 63, I never really noticed the difference of all of them. But what I notice now is the crispness of the pass and the generation of the plays coming out of the defensive zone. That pass up to the forward. When you go from Hlinka to the World Juniors, to the NHL, you can see how much better it gets when you get to those pro players. It's amazing.
Yeah, Gooch, to your point there, when I coached the Vimy Ridge Academy here for a little while, and it's sort of a hockey, they've got hockey, soccer, different sports. Anyways, when one of the guys came back, he went to so he's playing midget, and then he went to a junior camp, and so he came back, and I just wanted him to tell the other guys, what it's like. I said, what's the difference between playing in your league now and playing with those guys? And he went, man, says those guys pass the puck hard. And so to your point, and that's, there's a lot of people who can pass the puck hard, but it's actually receiving the puck in stride, and wherever, they always say good, good players make those around them better, right? So if you're a good player, it's in your skates, well, you got to deal with it. I mean, ideally it's on the tape, but those guys that pick those pucks up that
off their skates is crazy.
Wired to them. So yeah, exactly. The difference. Yeah, the passing for sure.
Hey, Matthew Miser, I've never heard of a 5-on-0 drill, but if anybody's seen it, I think it's Jordan when he was playing in Hong Kong. Hey, listen, here's my final part to this. This first line with Mctavish and the boys, they were completely dominating. It was unbelievable. But there's one player that just seems to stand up above them all. And what I found more interesting than how good this kid is how much crap he was taking and how good he responded with just being cool and not doing stupid stuff. And that kid is named Bedard. Is he the real deal? Not only offensively, he's phenomenal. He's good in the defensive zone, but he doesn't mind sticking his nose in it.
Yeah. Just from what I've seen, he's, again, he and Mctavish, I mean, all of them, all five of them, when they're out there, they were just passing that puck around. First game, right? Arguably, they were just getting their legs under them. And it looked like, maybe Bedard and Mctavish were thinking, okay, we got to win this by ourselves. And then by about the second period in the first game, has got better, and third. But the first period, right from the drop of the puck, They came out hard.
Yeah, they did.
And so Bedard in particular, sure, smart. I mean, he can pass the puck. And the one thing too, not only is he a great passer, he sees the ice so well, but he is always ready to shoot.
Yep.
He gets a puck, he's ready. He's a one-time shot. And again, his wrist shot or snap shot, a heavy shot. So he's looking, because shooting is the mental skill, but shooting is the physical skill, but scoring is a mental skill. So you don't want to be just shooting. He's looking to score. He's ready to go at all times. And you're right. He really dealt with all the crap, especially after the whistles. They tell that they were trying to, get under his skin, and even, maybe take a penalty, because for them it was like, okay, if we can even up and take him off the ice, we're great. But he was like, okay, whatever.
And he's not a big kid. He doesn't have a huge stature.
No.
Hey, listen, Jordan, what are the chances then the New York Rangers tanking this year to get him as the overall first-round pick?
The Rangers, no shot. The Jets are looking pretty good to do it, though.
Oh, my God. Did you just hear that, Donnie Depot?
Wow. That's a shot across the
listen.
bow.
They
Well,
stole Andrew Kopp. They stole Andrew Kopp. He
Yeah.
left to go to Detroit. What is that messaging? And then they steal Trouba and they make him the captain. Good luck, New York Rangers. Hey, listen, I know we got to let you go, Donnie. I can't thank you enough. You're always there for us. Look forward to following up a little bit more as we get closer, as the games heat up and we get closer to the finals. I know you're going to all the games. Jordan and I were planning to get out there. Unfortunately, we got to go to Ottawa.
Okay. All right.
All right, Don.
Well, have fun in the capital city.
Thanks, Don.
Got it, buddy. Hey, Don DePo, Studio 9. He wasn't, I thought he was going to tell you how great I was. He forgot to.
I guess you're just okay.
I didn't send him a check. Nobody still has time. You still have time.
Okay, here. Gouche, you were awesome, buddy. You were awesome. You know, I think people downplay your contribution, but I tell you, when you had the puck, you set the pace. Yeah.
Okay, money's coming. Money's coming.
Yeah. Okay, buddy.
Geez, I wanted to do it. I wanted him to do it without me having to bribe him. All right, George, listen, great show. Thank you for jumping on and getting this done. Obviously, going downtown today, we wanted to be at the bottom line. It's been really, really crazy, as everybody knows. So we decided that we would take the day off, be at your home studio, my home studio, and we had the opportunity to sit down with Steven Ellis, who's actually in the crowd up as one of the reporters. And it's really interesting to hear from him how the feeling is from a journalistic approach.
Sorry, say that again, Gooch. You cut out.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's going to be really cool to listen to what we heard from Steven Ellis on journalistic approach, that he was up in the crowd, it's got to be really a different thing for a journalist watching this. You know, they don't have the same access, but certainly when you've got, as he mentioned, 7 or 8 fans, it's got to also be for them kind of. And one of the things that he mentioned too is how cold it is. Watch this. Hey, and as promised, Steven Ellis from the Hockey News, all the way in Edmonton, where he's watching a game or a couple of games, and he's been the only spectator. Here he is from Edmonton. I think it's called the Rogers Arena. Steven Ellis.
Yeah, it is cold here at Rogers Place. I'll tell you that. I am freezing to death right now.
Or is it called Rogers Place, Scotiabank? Which one is it? There's so many different names.
This one is Rogers Place. There's a Rogers Arena. There's Rogers Center. But yeah, there's a million Rogers.
Hey, let me ask you this. Do you have Wi-Fi? That's all I got to ask you.
That's how I'm talking to you right now.
Hey, you know what? Lots going on. Obviously, you're there covering the World Hockey, the Junior Hockey Championships. And I want to get right into it right off the bat. I want to ask you this very important question. What's going on?
Well, there's hockey being played. I'm assuming that's exactly what you're talking about, right?
Well, we know that, but I've been watching the games, and I've actually been looking for you in the crowd, but I couldn't pick you out of all those people.
Yeah, it's funny. So, yeah, the attendance has been pretty poor for this tournament. It's been kind of funny because they do like a fan of the game each game, and I've predicted it like at least 3 times correctly because there's just not many options. And I posted a photo that got a lot of traction on Twitter day 2 where it was the Austria versus Germany in the warm-ups, and I counted 12 people in the crowd. And it's like most of them were family members. So it's been pretty rough to kind of see the attendance, unfortunately. But it's something where it's a lot of factors. The costs are expensive. The cheapest tickets are around $50. Even for the games that are not very desirable, there's a lot of what else? There's the Hockey Canada scandal, of course, that's going on, and then there's the fact that this is in August, and people kind of forget the fact that there's a lot of actual this is not a rarity to have an international hockey tournament this summer. There's a ton of hockey tournaments this summer. The Hlinka Gretzky just finished out in Red Deer, but it's very rare to have this tournament, and obviously we're seeing that right now. So it's like a perfect storm of just too expensive, the controversies going on, and the fact that it's way out of the time where people care, and a lot of the best players aren't here.
Hey, were you one of the 3 fan of the game?
It's funny, they have a test where it's like a trivia question, and I'm thinking like I might as well try it because there's like about a 50% chance I'll win every single time, even if I just guess.
Hey, listen, of course, you're talking about not having the crowds there. I spoke to Gene Principe a couple of days ago, and he actually said even before the scandal kind of broke and they had announced that there was not a lot of love for the tournament. It was just not there. Now that obviously what's going on and sponsors pulling out and not having the availability of, advertising or the push from sponsors, because I can almost guarantee you the sponsors aren't using their seats. Talk to me a little bit about that particular part, because somebody's going to lose a lot of money again.
For sure. I think the key thing to know about these international tournaments is very few of them ever are like make a lot of money. The ones when they're held by Hockey Canada and they're hosted in Canada typically will do better than usual. But it's like you'll look at how many international tournaments a year, the U18s, the Linka Gretzky, the Women's World Championships, the Women's U18s, all these major tournaments that are used to this, to having pretty empty arenas. We're not used to seeing that with the World Juniors, but this is a rarity for this event, but not rarity for international hockey tournaments. So we kind of know that will be the case. But man, it's a lot less money. You're looking at the boards, there's a ton, I'm seeing them right now, just a ton of blue Maple Leafs. No actual like advertisers except for T-Saw, not the IHF advertising.
Hey, Steven, I got to say this to you, bud. I didn't have my glasses on when I saw it for the first time. I thought those were cannabis leaves on the boards.
Oh, you're not alone. You're not alone. I said that actually the first time I saw it too. I'm like, wow, it looks really strange. And but yeah, so there's definitely a lot of issues there. I know on the broadcast they're still getting a lot of advertisers, but this is something where this was a thing where I didn't expect this tournament to do well, but I didn't think it'd be this bad. I thought we would get 1,000 people per game, and on first day we were getting 200, 300 and something like that.
What happened to the Canada game? I didn't see the attendance. Was it? They announced it, but I don't think it was what they said it was.
It was like either 2,300 or 2,700. It was not great at all.
Now, Stephen, as this tournament goes along, now we've seen this before in these type of tournaments, especially when they're in Europe. They don't really get much until the playoffs. They get more than 7. But do you think as Canada rolls on? Obviously, the talk is Canada-US. Your thoughts on if it is a Canada-US final? Obviously, the TV ratings will be good. Will the fans be in the building, or is there another dream matchup? Canada-Sweden, Canada-Finland.
It's like there's Canada versus anyone would be a big deal. Canada versus USA would be probably the biggest without Russia being there. Sweden would be a decent draw because Sweden's a good team. Finland, Canada and Finland have a very big rivalry in international hockey, pretty much every level now. Let's not forget the women's team. The Finnish women's team beat Canada a couple of years ago. So kind of everywhere you go, Finland and Canada play some really good games. To me, that's become my favorite rivalry. But if you're looking for let's get people in the crowd, let's get people watching on TV, it has to be Canada USA. But like if it becomes like Finland and like Czechia, which was a great game when it happened on Thursday, but if that was the final, for example, I'm not sure we'd see any people here.
Now, do you see any people like tourists, people from other countries there? That's probably the major part of the audiences right now. Do you see anybody wearing a Swedish jersey, a Finnish jersey, a Czech jersey?
The two that I've seen the most probably have been Finland and Latvia. In Latvia, it was like 5 fans. So again, it kind of showed you a little something there. But they were so loud because they were all in the little same section. And every time they were, they're doing mic checks right now. But every time Latvia would get a scoring chance, they were going nuts. They were loving it.
So it must be echoing in the building. Hey, listen, obviously when Canada goes overseas and they play in Europe, we always see a tremendous amount of support, Canadian flags all over the place. It's got to be for the players themselves. Listen, these players are struggling. I know struggling is not the right word, but these players obviously read the newspapers, watching TV, hearing about all this scandal about Canada. And I'm not just talking about the Canadians, but these players are playing in front of 5 to 8 to 12 fans. It can't be that. It's got to take away from their experience.
To a point. Obviously, it's not the same, but like they'll play international tournaments that aren't open up to fans. Like they'll do exhibition games have no fans. A lot of the 5 nations, 4 nations tournaments don't have a lot of fans. So this is not crazy territory for them. Again, like some of these teams have already played international tournaments this summer, let alone kind of just this year. So that's not kind of crazy for them. But you're still getting like some players have been kind of upfront and saying, like, we kind of expected it to be this way. Other players are like, yeah, we're playing at noon local time. Of course, no one's going to come see in the middle of August. Yeah. It's not like people are on Christmas break during the World Juniors usual.
They got a lot of time. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot more time. People aren't working. There's not much else to do because it's freezing cold. Right now, Alberta doesn't have a long summer, and the weather's been fantastic.
I know
it's so cold in here, and I might get sick from the transfer if in and out. But like outside right now, it's like 22 degrees. It's not hot. It's not cold. It's perfect. So people want to be outside. So I get that. But for the players, a lot of them are used to this. So this is not new territory. But maybe for Canada, Canada is not used to this.
All right. Listen, obviously you see the two jerseys behind us. You were a part of that. It was the Ice Hockey Classic, Canada versus U.S. Jordan's going to come up in a few seconds and talk a little bit about, obviously, you may or may not have heard of the goalie controversy that's happened in Vegas. We'll talk about that in a sec. But you were a big part of the Ice Hockey Classic. So it is Canada. Is this who you're predicting in the final? Are those the two dominant teams? You mentioned Sweden. I watched them the other night. I like them. I think they're going to give a big is there any team that's maybe surprised you right now?
I'd say Finland's got the ability right now to really kind of do some damage. And I kind of wrote them off and said, like, maybe a fourth place team because I really like Sweden. In Canada, Sweden was my final pick. Sweden, I've not loved. They've had some moments where they could be dominant, and they've had other moments in their game against Canada in the pre-tournament game, and then going out and playing against, I'm drawing a blank who they played, Switzerland. Not the greatest outings I've ever seen. Those were not fantastic. So I'd like to see a bit more of them, but I do think it's kind of like it's down to Canada, USA, Sweden, and Finland are the top four, and Czechia is going to be out there the whole time doing some damage. They led against Finland for a good portion of that game too. We can't forget that. So I think those five are the ones to watch. But Canada, Sweden was my pre-tournament pick. Right now, man, Canada, USA, especially if Luke Hughes playing the way he is for the Americans. Wow.
Now, I know we're only partway through this tournament. I saw the Germans play. Obviously, they won their first game, but they just don't look as well-rounded as we saw them at the Christmas time showing. What's happened there?
Well, this is teams are not kind of at their full strength, and this is a team that could have had a bit more firepower, and we didn't get it. Part of it is, they've played some tough competition right after that. They went out there and beat Austria, and Alexander Blanc was fantastic in that game, scores 3 goals, 4 points, and I think that was the opportunity for them to kind of suppress the other teams. But they played against an American team that's, they're the United States. Of course, they're going to be out there really strong. So Germany should be in the quarterfinals, which is good. But I don't think everyone really had high hopes for them. They're just kind of continuing to try to stay in the top. Like this year, there's no relegation, but their goal is to build towards winning or getting some wins in 2023 and out east and seeing kind of what happens there. But this is kind of a tune-up for that.
All right. Of course, I can't go without you being in Edmonton and not asking this question. Any Jack Campbell jerseys sighting yet?
I have basically seen a total of 2 different jerseys from Oilers, and it's Draisaitl, and there's a lot of Draisaitl fans in Germany games, and Connor McDavid. And it's funny. I've seen more Arizona Coyotes jerseys than pretty much any other team.
All right.
I'm not kidding. It's very weird.
Okay, well, that is really weird. Now, talking about weird, our producer's popping up. Jordan, I want to talk to you both about this new breaking news. Lehner out for the year, hip surgery. And then what's really, I don't want to, anytime a player's injured, I never want to mock it or make any bad statements. But, Matt Pacioretty leaves and goes to Carolina, and he's going to be out for a elongated time because, the Achilles tendon. Man, if he was in that lineup too, and they lost those 2 players, Vegas just seems, since they've been in the Stanley Cup final, nothing's gone right. Stephen, first you. How big of a deal is this?
Well, if you look at statistically last year, he wasn't very good. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how that happens. But to me, this is a team that's going to have to go out there and get another goalie. And I have to assume they're calling the Islanders right now, and they're looking at getting Varlamov and trying to see what they could do there. And they're going to have to be making some moves because, Robin Lehner did not have a good season last year. And even the year before that, we're talking about a guy who was who came to camp overweight, didn't look like he was ready to go. And there's a lot of talk of, like, was he truly the guy that was going to be the starter long term? And losing him for the year, that hurts. But that gives them some salary cap space to kind of make some moves. And I think they're going to be pretty active quite shortly.
Hey, Jordan, obviously it's the Winnipeg Jets alumni in net. I'd be nervous. Hutchie, Breezewell, I don't know. What are your thoughts there, Jordan?
Yeah, I'm with Steven there, and they are going to have to make a move. But I think with Ron Lehner on the injured reserve actually already, I mean, Vegas is still nearly $6 million over the cap. So while they are going to have to make a move, it's going to have to be a cheap move. And I mean, I'm going to have to see some money probably leaving Vegas too. I mean, look at a guy like Nicholas Raw, 2.75 or sorry, 3 mil. I mean, just somewhere around that range. I mean, I think it's going to be a pretty decent move that Vegas is going to have to make.
Hey, listen, I know that there's obviously going to be some changes, but you just brought up an interesting name, Steven, for the starter.
Yeah, Logan Thompson. This is a guy who was kind of being their guy at the very end of the year. And, I would say he could be the guy who's a starter. He played very good for Canada at the World Championship. But I guess we got to say, I don't think he's got a current contract right now, or maybe he does. I might be wrong. But this is someone who I thought played pretty well down the stretch for the Golden Knights.
Hey, I'm going to ask you both this question. What's gone wrong in Vegas? Like, seriously, they fought to get Eichel, of course. They go to the Stanley Cup Finals. Is it management? Is it players? Is it a combination of the coaching carousel? All that stuff. What if you could pinpoint one thing, guys, that you feel this Vegas, was it luck? Was it really luck that they got to the Stanley Cup Finals?
I will say that was a hardworking team that I don't think anyone expected to get that far, but they've kind of played like 4 lines of grinders, solid defense, and got very good goaltending. And over time, they've improved their team, but that hasn't been enough because they've been able to basically put themselves in salary cap hell, and that's why they're in the situation where they're literally giving away one of the best goal scorers they've ever had away for free in Pacioretty. So it's kind of just factors like that. So they spent a lot to be competitive right off the bat to build a fan base. They were competitive right off the bat, and now they're starting to feel how bad it's going to work out for them.
Yeah, I feel like Vegas want to make all these big flashy moves. It's going to draw a lot of attention. It's going to make headlines around. But I mean, Steve, like you said, there is salary cap hell right now, and it's going to be a long road out of there. I mean, you have Eichel at 10 mil, Mark Stone at 9.5, Pietrangelo 8.8. I mean, it's almost starting to look like the least at this point.
So what would you do, Steven, really quickly, just before I let you go, you're the general manager now. Obviously, the number one issue is going to be clearing up some cap space, but you do have to bring in a legitimate goaltender. You mentioned Logan Thompson. You mentioned maybe them looking at the Islanders. What would your first move now that Lehner's on the shelf? What would you do?
So I believe they're at about $10 million in like overage, like cap space, basically, because they're going to have to put these guys on long-term injured reserve. So they will have a bit of room to work with, but it's the question is do they see Varlamov as the number one guy? They can't go into free agency because there's no good goalie left in free agency. And if Varley is the guy, then maybe that's what they get for a year, and you kind of readjust from there. But the problem is Vegas doesn't have a goalie of the future yet. And but I do think a guy like Logan Thompson could be good backup, and you bring in an experienced guy and see what happens. They've got the skill. This is a team that if they stayed healthy last year, we're a cup contender, and then everything's kind of fallen apart ever since everyone kind of got injured. So I think they're still in contention here. They're just going to need a goalie.
Yeah, and I like to see them. I mean, maybe take a look at Vancouver, look at their goalie depth right now. I think Michael DiPietro, as a potential long-term investment for them, could work out down the stretch, but they're going to need someone immediately, and the goalie market's going to dry up pretty quickly with some of these moves that are coming up. I'm not
convinced of DiPietro. I liked him a few years ago, but to me, really? He's like he lost a year of development essentially when the Canucks didn't play him, and he fell out of favor of the team. I'm not sure he's really the answer.
Okay.
Now, finally, Steven, I had an opportunity to skim through your World Junior Championship roundup. You talked about all the different teams. What you've seen in this first week of games, are you online with what you've said in the Hockey News?
I hope so. Yeah. No, it's been a fun week, and it's been a lot of. Then we don't have a clear favorite yet, which I think kind of makes this a little fun, and that alone is what makes this tournament a little bit more interesting to watch. I know it's hard for a lot of fans to care, but I think if you're a diehard fan, you want to be watching this because it's going to come down to the wire, really.
Well, both Jordan and I said it's Christmas in August. I think you said July the other day.
I did.
But it's August. And you know what? For me, I'm clicking every game. So Steven Ellis in Edmonton, thank you so much. I know we'll get you on as this tournament rolls along. Hopefully we'll be able to get you out of that busy crowd. You're probably going to be standing up and in line for the popcorn when it gets to the real games.
Oh, I want to find the closest sauna at this point. Without people here, this place is so cold.
It's called a jacket.
Yeah, I know. And also, like, I didn't bring one because I, thought, it's the summer hockey. I've been to a lot of rinks in the summer. No, apparently I needed one. So I'm I'm borrowing one of those electric scooters that are around town all the time now, and I'm gonna go to a place to find something tomorrow.
All right, hey, Walmart's down the street. All right, Steven Ellis, thank you so much, buddy. Always a pleasure. The hockey news.
Thanks so much, guys. Thanks.
Hey, we had tickets to go. We could have brought him a parket. Lyle Best said, "Hey, get down here. I think I got a seat for you."
No, but especially one more thing I want to mention about Lehner quickly.
Yeah, please.
I mean, we heard about this injury. I mean, earlier on in the season, around like January, February. I mean, we were hearing Lehner wasn't at 100%, but he was still playing a regular.
You did say that. I remember that.
Yeah, so it's going to worry me coming out of this injury. I mean, a hip injury for a goalie is a really big deal. Yeah. And the fact that he kept playing, he could have aggravated it, made it worse. So for Lehner, I am a little bit concerned about him coming out the other side of this.
All right, Jordan, as usual, you always bring the news to us that we can report. Thank you for that, of course, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Gouche.
Hey, that's Gouche Live. Just a really quick hit with Steven Ellis. He was saying, listen, I got a couple of minutes. I want to talk to you about what's going on there. And both Jordan and I did want to find out if there was actually more than 7 fans. And he has confirmed there were 5. All right, you've been watching Gouche Live. I'm at my home studio. I will be at the Bottom Line tomorrow, bringing you Gouche Live, and we will bring you the information about Team Canada, of course.
You've been listening to Gouche Live with your host, Kerry Goulet, better known as The Gooch, brought to you by the Hockey News and Sports Illustrated.